I think it's one of the greatest scores there is. And I feel so lucky to sing it every night. And I didn't think about it at the time. And now that we do it, it's actually like, it's historical, this score, isn't it? And the fact that we get to do it night after night after night.
Yeah.
And it's just mind-blowing. I think it's incredible, the music.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, I've never had the experience of like being able to like completely unleash like in Cabaret, like not have any, like honestly, sometimes maybe too much.
I love the aspects of queer culture that have been incorporated into the production, whether it be through John's extra little tweaks to his costumes.
Tom's got.
But you also requested, and whether that be in the choreography, in the subject matter, in the relationships, I love that about it.
It's ever evolving, isn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like even night to night. I think I only text Tom about costume the other day, and they're always happy to keep it moving and keep it changing and growing because it's a living organism.
It needed to feel like ours, because otherwise, you know, because the parts, there isn't actually that much about them in the text, so they are very open to interpretation, and so it really needed to feel like our own.
And it wasn't something we went out of our way to do for it to be different.
Yes.
It just came about that way through our interpretation. You know, I think working with John and Aimee, they're both very sensitive people and sensitive actors. And I feel like that comes across. So I feel like when we're doing a scene, I don't feel like a beat is missed. And I feel like the trajectory of Sally and Cliff's journey especially is really clearly mapped out for me, even though we miss a lot of what happens in their lives and we come in on the most intense moments. But because of the beats that are honoured between their relationships, it all makes sense to me. So it wasn't something we went out of our way to go, oh, we got to make this different, but just because through the playing of it, being open to each other, they're both open-hearted people, open-hearted characters, and kind of went with that spirit, and that's what brought it about, really.
Because we were rehearsing in isolation, so we were all kind of being rehearsed alone. Yeah. So John was alone for pretty much all of the rehearsal process. I was alone for my first chunk, and then Nathan finally got there. So we were all basically doing like, you know, I felt like it was a one-woman show for a while. And like I was, you know, we didn't have any of the dancers, we didn't have any of the other characters. So Jordan, the associate director, was playing like all the parts. So the weirder day was when I first came in to do like Don't Tell Mama and Mine Hair and all of those numbers with everyone else. And then all of a sudden there were people singing with me and dancing with me, and it was like, that was actually the biggest adjustment for me, more than when the audience came in, weirdly, because I don't know, it just felt really strange to all of, and brilliant, and it was like, thank God we finally have people.
Really, I didn't get to experience what it was truly like until the very first night, which is not something I'd suggest anybody go through. It's really intense, but you know, but that's great. It's great because it changes night to night, and you never know quite what you're going to get. I've
wanted to play Sally for a very long time, and she's built up this kind of, you know, she's got this amazing character who I actually think is Elsie. I think she's based who she is on her friend Elsie, like the protective side, and then you don't actually see the real Sally a lot, apart from maybe this time, and then it all starts to kind of shed. But that's who I've always seen, but that's why I love watching other Sallys, because I'm like, oh, that's the facet of her that you were most interested by, and I love seeing other versions. So it fascinates me as well when people say, oh, it's really like a different Sally, because I'm like, well, that's kind of how I just see her. And I think also from like reading stuff that Isherwood wrote as well about her, like the you know, she was only 19, and he said, you know, she wasn't really what she was saying she was. She'd just learned how to act like that, and she copied other people. So to me, she was always like a kind of quite like a girl pretending to be a grown-up and pretending to be this confident performer, but really I think when she meets Cliff, it is like maybe this time. So I think, that's kind of the thing that people have pointed out the most, is like, oh, this Sally's a lot more vulnerable.
I'd never read the script as well. I'd never seen a play production of it before I read it for the audition, so I'd only seen the movie. And the minute I read it, I was struck by how close Sally and Cliff's relationship is, that it read to me as a queer relationship, not just friends, you know, a best friend of someone. It read as they were in a relationship, and this was someone that he felt wasn't judging him, and that's why he felt like he could be open with her and stay with her, and why this was the best opportunity for him. For me, it's like someone who's come, it's the reason why anybody moves, you know, to another place, another country, another city, is to make a better life for yourself. So he's come here to immerse himself in this world because he wanted to leave his life where he was coming from. So it makes total sense to me that he would get completely stuck in this world and be completely consumed by it, and why he loves Sally and wants to be around her because of what she represents and what she can open up for him.
I think they break each other's hearts because they accept each other in a way like no one else has before, and then they, because of external factors, end up really turning on each other. And I think it really does break their heart. I think it's more than like a lost friendship that happened. It's like a real.
Yeah.
I saw Eddie and Jessie in it on New Year's Eve, which was fun, and I didn't think about. I wasn't auditioning for it or anything, so I just enjoyed it. It's like a punter. It was great. There was a great vibe. I thought it was really innovative. The design, I thought it was unlike a cabaret that had been done before in terms of its design, in terms of the space, in terms of the amazing prologue company. But we all ultimately ended up watching it.
We did.
And I'm glad, actually. I went to see it because people kept referencing things in the rehearsal room that I'd forgotten about, having just watched it, and you know, it all just leaves you. And I thought, I'm going to have to go see the show just to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so I did. And it's actually good technically to watch it and go, okay, how much time do I have in between that number and that number? So I just watched it from a technical standpoint, and I still really, really enjoyed it.
I love the energy of the audience coming down into us. I feel like it feeds you constantly. So I loved all of that. And I loved the prologue and the bars and the minute you step in, you're part of the Kit Kat Club. So I loved all of that. Like, that made me really excited just to get on and be a part of it, really.
For the beginning, it's like a boiling kettle. Everyone's just right there already. It makes our job so much easier.
Yeah.